Non-stop. Non-stop.
Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and valued participants, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 54th webinar I am Monica Bachchan Duvuri, CEO and founder of Metalogic Projects Management Services, welcoming you to this industry forum. We are really excited to present industry's first research on how digital transformation is shaping the steel industry logistics in India. Over the last few months, Fretron team, in conjunction with Metalogic, we have interviewed 20 plus top leaders across steel, including JSW Steel, Tata Steel, Jindal Steel Limited, Welspun, Lloyds, Godavari, Kalyani, Vardhaman, Jindal Saw, and many more to ensure this is not a theory but practice from the trenches, capturing priorities, tech adoption levels, key pain points, and emerging trends. Today's discussion is designed not just to share this data and insight perspective, but to spark strategic conversation among us around what's working, what's not, and where we go from here. Let's dive in. People from all around India are watching this webinar today. We are currently live on YouTube as well, on Metalogic official YouTube channel. Whether you are a CEO, COO, shaping overall business strategy, a logistic or supply chain head managing massive dispatches daily, or a CIO, digital transformation lead, pushing innovation agendas, this conversation is built around your real world challenges and goals. So before we move ahead, I want to ensure that you find value for your time today. By the end of this session, we promise you will walk away with a practical digital transformation playbook for steel logistics curated from conversation with the top leaders in this industry. We have spoken to the industry's leading transformation in this space, and we have compiled real world insights on where transformation is actually happening, what's working and what's not, a powerful 8 step playbook for your 2025 vision. We are also launching an exclusive report and giving it away for all the participants who are here with us today. This report has insights into the latest digital transformation initiatives that are actually live and top of mind from the leading steel logistic leaders in India today. Let me now introduce our panelists for today. We have the top leaders from steel industry with us who have also contributed in this report. We have Mr. Jagjit Singh from Tata Steel Limited. We have on behalf of Mr. Sushil Noval, we have Mr. Reddy from JSW Steel. We have Mr. Indra from Jindal Steel Limited and Mr. Puneet Agarwal from Fretron.
Yeah.
Mr. Puneet Agarwal is the CEO and founder of Fretron, India's leading TMS platform and the mastermind behind this industry research. Puneet is an industry veteran with 27 years of experience in transforming logistics and ISB alumnus. He is also leading India's one of the largest LSP firms, CJ Darsel, and is also about to launch a book on this proven logistic transformation framework called Move as One. This framework has saved more than 400 crores in freight cost for this customer with over 10,000 crore rupees freight spent over the last decade. He is a champion of transforming logistics using technology and recipient of many industry leading awards. Currently, he is focused on running Fretron, India's leading TMS platform that he started with the vision of brightening freight online. With this, let me hand over the forum to Puneet ji, who will introduce
Yeah.
Fretron and take it ahead from here. Puneet ji, over to you. And we
Thank you.
hope you please carry on, Puneet ji. It's over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Monica. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. So, Jagjit ji is shortly joining. Sorry for that. Monica ji, you're checking on him. So,
I
be
am
short.
checking. I'm checking.
And
Yes.
and Sushil ji, he had to rush for some situation in the plant. He was trying to connect through online, but there was some technology issue. So Ula ji is filling in for him. Thank you, Ula ji, for taking time. So we're gonna miss Sushil ji and Indrajit. Thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate you taking time. So uh, so as Monica introduced about myself, so I'll just take a moment to talk about my company, Fretron, where we are the most industry comprehensive and fastest to implement TMS and designed specifically for steel industry. We have almost 100 plus customers now and about a million shipments handled on Fretron TMS annually. And our customers manage a spend of almost 10,000 crores of freight. And over the last 10 years, we have saved almost 400 crores in freight costs for the customers by different value levers. We'll talk about it. So a bit more about Fretron. Fretron is end-to-end digitalization from dispatch planning to freight billing and settlement, from sourcing to analytics, control tower, the complete solutions. We are deeply integrated with the ecosystem, like the government APIs like ULIP, Vahan Sarthi. We do very extensive and deep integrations with the customers' ERP systems, WMS systems, as well as any plant automation hardware. So that's what we have been doing whenever we interact with customers. Integrations becomes a significantly important priority. And Fretron is the only TMS I would say which handles domestic as well as exim transportation, your inwards as well outwards, your road, rail, your primary, secondary, surface, rail, sea. So all the modes of transportation are supported by Fretron. So now it's time for which we are all here together. We are launching the industry's first report. This report has been built by one-to-one interviews from the industry leaders, top industry leaders, and we got the voices from the likes of Tata Steel, Jindal Steel Power, the CEO from Welspun was here with us, and then JSW Steel, Sushilji, who had to bail out the last minute. So I would request the fellow panelists to raise a hand to share the report cover. Do we have the report? Everyone, please. Thank you for contributing to the report. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as we progress, so in the report, when we're discussing, we got to know about what is on top of the mind of the leading supply chain leaders in steel industry. How are they tackling the coordination between the departments? How are they working towards reducing their freight costs, which is a key issue for them? And compliance and customer service are significantly important. We will gotta hear about some very interesting stories, real life success stories that they've been able to implement in their organizations. And finally, based upon all these conversations, the themes, we compile them into 8 core transformation levers, which the steel companies can leverage to implement digital transformation in their logistics in steel companies. So there's a couple of the names that we have. We're going to hear from some of them. Sushil Navalji, who's from JSW, represented by Abulaji today. And then we have Indraji, he's himself here. He's going to talk about some very interesting AI implementation. And Jagjit ji, I'm still waiting. I hope he should, as we progress, he should be able to join us. And
Jagjit sir has joined, Puneet sir. You can
okay,
see him.
Hi, Puneet.
okay.
Good
Hello, Jagjit
afternoon,
ji.
and hi, good
Very good
afternoon.
afternoon. Very good afternoon. So, Jagjit he's, I understand you've recently moved into a new role, but while we had an interview, you were head of supply chain and leading the entire logistics and customer service for Tata Steel. Really appreciate your taking time to join us today.
Thanks,
So,
Puneet. Yeah.
yeah. So we progress. So in the report, you'll see the anecdotes and the digital transformation and the supply chain practitioners. That's the idea about it. And let's get started. So when we discussed the common themes, there were few common themes that emerged. First and foremost, when we're talking about the mega steel plants like the JSWs and the Tata Steels and JSP, infrastructure bottleneck is what figured out in everyone's discussion. So most of the large steel plants they need to evacuate the produce on an everyday basis. They reliant upon railways besides road transportation. So Jagjit ji, you talked about it. Jagjit ji, if you could share some thoughts. Uh, I think you're synced in about the flow. Like I'll be talking about the some problem areas, and then subsequently we'll branch out to the innovations that we've done to overcome the problems. So right now, if you could talk about the infrastructure bottlenecks which concern you while handling your operations.
Yeah, sure, Punitji. See, the infrastructure bottlenecks are the complete digitalization process itself. it's a hectic job. I guess we are currently operating with multiple plants, multiple locations, the multiple areas of operations have to be brought into the completely digitalization. So we need to invest so much of infrastructure and the first phase, and the digitalization process is also it's a continuous process. We need to adopt the new technologies, we need to adopt the new phases whatever been implemented, so that has to be adopted immediately. Then only we can sustain our the process of digitalization. Yes, challenges are more. We need to integrate with the multiple platforms, multiple vendors. So we must keep updating our infrastructure to
Yeah.
sustain the and to expect the required results.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So you talked about you were looking after digitalization parts. That's a very important role to play. And hardcore infrastructure, if challenges we talk about. So Gigi, you touched upon this topic when we discussed on this, that how the railways become a bottleneck for you and you have to navigate around it. If you could share with the audience your thoughts about it.
Yeah. Thanks. Puneet, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. And are you able to also see me? Just to
Yes,
do a.
yes, we are able to
Okay.
see you.
Good.
In fact, I'll.
So good. Thanks. I think when it comes to infrastructure, I would first start with the positive that I think in the last 10 years or so, the kind of work which has happened in the logistics infrastructure, I think the country has never seen this kind of work. Whether it is any mode of transportation, I think things have really come a long way. Whether it is railways or the port infrastructure, the airport infrastructure, things have really moved quite well. And I think the government has also sanctioned a huge amount of money to improve the logistics infrastructure. And in fact, the industry is seeing some benefits out of it also. Uh, However, what is happening is that one is that we have ground to cover. The second is that growth that is happening specifically in the steel sector, the infrastructure in the areas mainly in the mining belts or from the perspective of the port infrastructure of imported flux, coals, etc., as outbound distribution, movement of steel pan India. So the steel industry is very concentric, localized in the states of Orissa or Jharkhand or for that matter Karnataka. And thereafter the challenge is how to debottleneck specific to steel industry, the infrastructure in these areas. So there's a lot of switches there where all the various ministries, various projects, there are projects on.
Oh, there's a technical issue. I think he dropped. Jagjichi, we lost you. Are you there with us? Jagjichi, we can see you
Yeah, he
join.
has just joined again. Jagdeep
Yeah.
sir, please unmute.
I'll just probably put off my camera because of the bandwidth. Puneet, am I audible?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you. There's a little bit of cracking, but I think we can manage.
Yeah, I'm facing some network issues, uh, but I think what I
Yes,
was
it's
saying
audible.
was that, yeah, there's lots have been done, but we still need to cover a lot of ground in the space of infrastructure.
Yeah. So what I generally, when I discuss with leaders, so what I come across is logistics is usually the afterthought. Most of the times, investments on the plant is done, and only then when we start executing the dispatching huge volumes, then we realize we don't have the connectivity to the main thing. That's I think this has changed. The same what you had do in the cities in the country, the large cities, whatever infrastructure you build, the traffic and the population grows more than what we have. So we'll move on to the next point. Cost is always steel is a competitive industry, it's a commodity industry. So cost also remains an issue. So this is what various people, Sushil ji mentioned about it. There was a target that he took for 3% in cost savings in logistics and almost total spend of 20,000. Reddy ji, would you want to add something about this on behalf of Sushil ji?
Yeah, sure. Tupuniji. As I said, the first phase of the cost is more. See, we have taken almost 3% of the cost has been incurred, and the returns are happening in a slowed manner because 0.7% returns have percent of returns have happened, but initial spent on digitalization, that is more. As I said, the plant will be constructed, the other ancillaries will be upgraded, but for the digitalization it is the least priority during the beginning of the plant construction.
Yeah.
So it happens at the last phase. So now, anyway, we have catched up, we have surpassed all those hurdles. Now the complete end-to-end distillation process has been completed for road as well as rail. So we are progressing in Sampark, and we are even progressing for rail distillation also by name the Iris. So we are very much progressing. In fact, in road operations, our expectations have been met, and even we are progressing beyond the expectations in distillation process. That is encouraging. The results are encouraging, and we are even aiming for further reaching to the customer from mines from ports to the end customers. We are completely in the process of distillating the complete end-to-end process.
Yeah.
So the cost,
Nice.
as you said, the cost is there, but it took so much of time to complete the process. But now we are on
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, I hear you. So, Indraji, you mentioned about visibility, like customer service is significantly very important, visibility to the customers and to your control towers. So maybe if you could share some light on what have you done about what do you see as important to improve customer service?
Sure. So, first of all, Puneet ji and Monica ji, thanks for arranging this. This is very much required in the context of developing India from a developing nation to a developed country, right? So that's the Vikshit Bharat vision that our Prime Minister Sri Modi ji has shown us, and we should be reaching there by 2047. Now, to keep that vision in mind, as Jagjit ji also said, that we have to improve our overall infrastructure, and the steel demand is growing in India. So if you see by 2030, so we are aspiring to produce almost 300 million tons, right? And what is the current level? Current level is around 130, 140 million tons, maybe plus minus 5% this side and that side. So it's a huge jump, and that's where I think the infrastructure improvement is very much required, and how digitalization can actually help in optimization of the overall road and rail transportation within the infrastructure what we have, because infrastructure improvement is a capex decision, whereas digitalization is a opex decision. So you can improve your efficiency, you can improve or reduce your cost by 5 to 8% by just simply taking the right decision at right time. So visibility becomes very, very important in this part. But before I go to visibility part, let me just quickly talk about what are the challenges that we are facing as a overall industry. One is like, see, for 1 ton of finished steel product that we produce in our locations, we have to move almost 4 to 5 tons of material. So it includes your raw material, it includes your intermediary like pellets, and definitely it includes the finished product that has to ship from your plant locations to the customer places. So the overall transportation, overall logistics can be divided into 3 parts, right? One is like your incoming material, which is coming from different sources. Now, these sources are generally fixed. It can vary based on the cost and other issues or other challenges or other dynamics, price dynamics, but then the mines are mostly fixed. Whether it is captive mines or OMC mines or your coal mines, your plant locations are fixed. So what is playing here is that efficiency part, how quickly you can transport the raw material from these fixed sources to your plant location so that there is no dearth of raw material for the production. The second part is definitely the finished goods that are moving out from the plant locations to your customer places. Now, this becomes a little tricky, as Punitji has already explained, because there are so many places you have to move the material. Evacuation needs to be fast. Your get in to get out processes needs to be improved. Your weighment processes needs to be manless. So there are a lot of digital interventions that can be playing here in this part. Even we are talking about cost, right? So if you can properly manage the shipment, let's say a trailer is having a capacity of 32 tons, but then you are loading only 30 tons. So you are keeping that idle freight. You are losing money, right? So where we can club the things together, your delivery order to your transportation vehicle assignment can be mapped in an optimized way. So there are a lot of improvements and ideas which are present. Fretron is also working on some of them. So thanks, Muniji, for bringing some of these innovations. And the third part is the in-plant vehicle movement, right? So that is also very important because once the raw material is dumped to your raw material handling section, from there how it is moving to your sinter plant, to coke plant, to blast furnaces, that efficiency can be also improved. So when we are talking about visibility, the visibility needs to be brought in all these areas. It has to be supported by the analytics part, and then some of the informed decisions can be taken. Let's say if there is a bottleneck at some point of time, and bottleneck happens, right? Because we cannot avoid the no entry time zone. So maybe we can allow only during night time. In some places, we can allow within maybe by morning 4 a.m. to morning 8 a.m. So the bunching will happen. Now, how we can streamline the flow so that this bunching is really not causing an operational bottleneck. So the visibility on all these areas through a control tower is really going to help. And maybe in subsequent questions or interactions, Puniji, I can share it. But this is my opening statement.
Yeah.
And by the way, one quick thing. So Jindal Steel and Power has been renamed and rebranded as Jindal Steel. So please call
Yeah.
us Jindal Steel.
We'll
Thank you.
we'll update it. Yeah. Yeah. This is a recent change, so we probably we'll update that. We'll update. Thank you so much. So and the last thing is the compliance in steel. If you talk about safety, is of significant importance for most businesses, and now cracking the carbon footprint, that's also very important. So Jagjeet, any comment about safety, compliance, or any other those aspects which you feel are important for you?
Yeah, so safety is not about compliance, it's a hygiene factor for us. And, whatever we try to do, it has to be at zero harm to anybody. So it is very much built into our style of operations. And along with safety, where we do see that many companies, while it is mandatory to report scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, Tata Steel voluntarily reports scope 3 emissions. And that is where our focus remains of how can we actually keep reducing our scope 3 footprints. And I think a lot of work is possible here, and where we are closely tying up with the alternate fuel segments, electric vehicles. And here too, I think since these are new segments, digitalization will play a critical role in optimization of alternate fuel transportation as well as EV transportation. So
Yeah.
I think these are things to stay. Okay, it's a matter of time when regulations will back it up, and we will have to fall into a compliance mode. So whatever first mover advantage we can get in these areas, I think it's high time that we all work towards it.
Yeah. So we touched about all the 5 areas which are usually concerns of supply chain leaders. So as we discussed, we realized there is certain theme. What we understand is, or what all of us would agree, logistics and supply chain are the most cross-functional activity that happens in an organization. It connects from the suppliers and the supply side transporters, then your purchase departments, your receiving departments, and then your production planning, and your dispatch team, your security team, your sustainability team, your customers. So all the ecosystem, they need to be connected to be able to uh, have top class or excellence in logistics. And as Indraji touched about, the key to enabling efficient logistics is enabling every stakeholder with the right information at the right time. That's what would lead to quality decision making, and which I believe is the theme which commonly drives the digital transformation initiatives that most companies undertake. So I will list out the innovation themes that we came across, and while I was wanting to launch it one by one, but I'll open all of them, and then probably I'll take a round about with the panelists to share their observation. First and foremost is digitalization at the core. That becomes the foundational stone for everyone to get started on the journey of transformation. Uh, Very interesting case study from Indraji. When think of steel, I used to think that steel would be amongst the last or the late adopters of artificial intelligence in their business. I happened to be at one of their technology events where they showcased how they are leveraging AI. That was very impressive. I'll request Indraji to share in his turn. So data driven, Jagdish ji talked about the network optimization. We just don't look at the what's happening within the boundaries of your organization. You have to look beyond. So there was some interesting discussion that we had about data driven optimization of your network and your operations. So delays and smart automation. TAT, in fact, uh, JSW Avluji is joined from cement. Cement, the previous report that we did was in cement industry, and where 2 hours or 3 hours at a turnaround time for a truck is very, very default and standard. Whereas when we deal in steel, average I would say is not less than 12 hours in steel industry. Most amongst the above average companies, they would have 12 hours as their turnaround time. And I have personally experienced multiple situations where I spoke to a driver and he was sleeping in the truck for 36 hours. His truck was inside and he had to sleep in the truck within the plant. So this is in one of the steel plants that has happened. So I think there is a long way for steel companies to catch up in terms of the turnaround time improvement. So, and partnerships, Jagjiji mentioned during the discussion, like we don't have to see our transporters and as a supplier or a vendor. We have to strike strategic partnerships with them. How do we enable them to be more efficient? So that I think Jagjiji, you might share a quip about them a bit. And infra bottlenecks, like there's a certain gestation period for an infrastructure to grow. The key is identifying the key bottlenecks and how do we navigate around it. There have been some strategic placement of assets that Sushil ji talked about I'm sure both Tata Steel as well as JSP has also Jindal Steel has also done investment in their own tracks and optimizing of the wagon turnaround times. And finally, nobody can steel being a polluting, carbon emitting industry. We have to take our fair share of responsibility. These are the 7 levers that we emerged during the discussion. So now I'll request Jagjit ji if you could talk about something that strikes a chord with you, which you think would be valuable for our audience today. We have 204 people listening to the podcast right now. So this I'd like to share.
Yeah. No, good. Yeah, Puneet, I think very well captured, and I think this um, was emerging as one of the 7 key items of where the industry could focus on. I would pick on data-driven optimization because I think today the maturity curve that we are all in, I think like safety and sustainability, even visibility to customers is becoming more and more of hygiene. It's no more a and enhanced delivery or a service model that is there. So it's very basic to have visibility. So once we start having that visibility, and once we have the core data in place, for optimization. And this is where we have to work on it, because some of the problems that we saw on the previous slide with regards to cost or with regards to infrastructure, uh, these can be addressed through optimization. So while with a better optimization, we can reduce our spend by reducing the waste. At the same time, in a scenario where there is a constrained infrastructure, if you are able to optimize our movement and reduce waste, with we can do more with less. So I think it's a very key step that we move in, and data availability and digitalization platforms actually. The challenge comes in the adoption of it, and so when there is any startup or a new company who probably doesn't have systems in place, for them it is easier to take on a platform and implement it, but there the cost of implementations, because they may not have the scale to absorb it, becomes a challenge. So I think the tech companies need to see how they can keep evolving and bring out a product which can be applied for the MSMEs or the small scale TA. On the larger side of it, what happens is each of the big organizations already have some kind of systems in place. So there the challenge is, how do we get in which can plug and play, and are there, and they bring in of enhanced services which are there. So you pick up use cases and kind of, if the security concerns are addressed, then you do plug and play of a third party system, and you have a system which is up and ready for you. So that is where I see data driven optimization plays a big role. You spoke about strategic partners. I think in this logistics industry is not very consolidated. Okay, there's a lot of fragmentation, and this is where we have to actually look at. We have to consider our transportation partners or our transportation vendors as our strategic partners, and work along with them, and to see how we can leverage uh, the overall efficiencies, because most of the cases, as was being said by Mr. Datta, in the case of raw materials movement, it's a very defined circuit in which the movements happen. But when it comes to the outbound side on the steel logistics, you are only all of us are, with all our vendor partners, only securing one leg of the movement, that is from the customer or to the stockyard or to the various sidings. So the retail loads is somewhere where we see there could be very, very good strategic partnerships by uh, coming to a platform where actually freight discoveries are facilitated. And it's not just the steel industry, there could be partnerships with allied industries which are providing reverse loads. So, and we work with the larger set of customers. We also work at the individual driver levels. How do we actually do a kind of a relay handshake, a turnaround of vehicles to address the whole problem? So these strategic partnerships not only improve uh, the life of the people who are actually running the wheels, uh, they also help us to bring in some amount of cost efficiencies and address the current interim gaps in infrastructure by improving the overall operational efficiencies. So that's how I see this. I think Go Green initiatives I already touched earlier.
Yeah. Hmm. This sounds good. Data-driven optimizations, as we said, key logistics is all about complex operations. So how do you map your network? How do you do your simulations? And so most large fleet, what do you say, steel manufacturers that become a networked steel manufacturer. There are multiple plants all over the country. So how to serve which customer? Their hub and spoke networks that we built. So all these involve reasonable in bit of data intensity. So I hear you. And so Indraji, I'm curious about your I think audience would like to know about your Jindal AI. So I'll stole the thunder, but I think whatever you think is relevant for the audience, which
Sure. So I think when we talk about AI, there are multiple use cases that can be solved through AI, and in logistics and in a broader terms in supply chain, AI is going to play a important role, and AI has already started playing an important role. So let me give a couple of examples where we are using and where we can use also in the future. So the AI technology, maybe just for a little bit of understanding for the people who are on the call. So we can actually distribute it into three categories. So one is called your machine learning and AI, which is focusing on predictive type of problem solving. The second part is what we call computer vision. So there also we can apply a lot of AI algorithms and solve video analytics or computer vision based use cases. And the third part is what we call the generative AI, where we are taking help of different large language models, and you are aware of ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and so on and so forth. So many models which have come out recently. We can take help of those models and then solve some of the problems. But then what's happening in current context is that this all three things are getting clubbed, and then we are using multiple products to build a solution which is effectively solve the business problems in a more effective way. So recently, what we see before I go to this J stands for Jindal AI. The use case that is quite popular in Jindal Steel. But I think the traditional network optimization, network design was earlier happening through your LP or NLP based problem solving, linear programming and non-linear programming based problem solving. But now what has happened is that all the historical data are also used to make those models more effective, which means that you are actually using the first leg of the artificial intelligence, that is some kind of supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Now, when we talk about compliance as well as leakage prevention, I always say that you know what is the real bottleneck in a plant? It is the weigh bridges, right? Because every input and output is going through that weigh bridge. So you need to be ensuring that the weigh bridges are properly compliant and secured in all the way. Secured, when I'm saying it is data secured, it is physically secured, and so on and so forth. So when you are putting your number plate recognition system, ANPR, what we call automated number plate recognition system, that is also an AI. If you are able to see that whether a coal carrying truck is properly covered with a tarpaulin, you can do it manually, but do we have that luxury nowadays? No, right? So it has to comply with the turnaround time, SLAs that you have committed to the business. So you have to put an computer vision based system that if the tarpaulin is not there, straight away the signal can go to my SAP, and then the right set of deductions or penalty can be charged to the transporter. So that is also possible. When we are talking about the final leg, that is generative AI, so I can give an example what we have done in Jindal Steel. We have built something called Jai. Jai is an agent which is going to help you in answering some of the queries, which is not only lying within your database, but also it can give some insights which you are not thinking about. How it is possible? Because the AGI, the artificial generic intelligence, which is now coming into many of these large LLMs, is going to connect your overall supply chain. You need not tell that, okay, my DRI process and blast furnace process is actually contributing to my hot metal production. The artificial generic intelligence will understand, okay, if I'm seeing the data is there for my DRI production and data is there for my blast furnace production, then all these things is going to my SMS, and then it will definitely go to my mills. And once the mills are producing the material, it is actually going through the logistics channels. Now, one way of solving these problems by extensive training the models. The other thing is that you can use this AGI kind of intelligence. And then what happens is that it is merged with the data, and data foundation has to be built. That is given. Without that, nothing is going to work. But then on top of it, you are applying this application layers. It is really going to answer any sort of question which you might take hours to find a right answer. And it is only not only going to give you an answer on the that what happened, right? So what happened is a straight away database query. कि मेरा ये मटेरियल क्यों नहीं मटेरियल का डिस्पैच का वॉल्यूम कितना है सो हाउ मच volume of rake and road dispatches we have made. You can get that information relatively easily, right? But then if you want to ask why this is not happening, is it because of the loading time? Is it because of the inventory issue? Is it because of the finishing problem? Or is it because of maybe a no entry which has restricted your truck movement? So those kind of why questions can be also answered by these models. So it will be an exciting journey in the future. So we are doing something in Jindal still, but I'm sure we are going to see more and more use cases in the overall industry. Thank you.
So Indraji, you just mentioned that getting this information that how much dispatch has happened yesterday, this is kind of easy. And I was just thinking about 2 years back when ChatGPT was not launched. Even for this thing, there used to be a person, the CIO had to depend upon an assistant who would on his ask take 2 hours to generate that report and give it to him. So we have come a long way from that. And what you just talked about, not just what happened, why happened analysis, that's the next leg of our innovation and transformation journey. Really appreciate your insights. So Reddy ji, you have to fill in Sushilji's shoes. So uh, so he was very dear, very what do you say, passionate about the Sampark project, which is a significant transformation initiative that JSW has for the complete transformation. So digital at the core, that's the first topic. Maybe if you can talk about the Sampark project or anything that speaks to you in this slide on behalf of JSW Steel.
Yes, sure, Puneetji. See, Sampark is the digitalization process for complete road operations. That is from mines to plant for bringing the raw material. Apart from raw material, we bring other the materials that is for store related material, any other consumables inside the plant, and that's also there. Plus outbound is obviously it is there. So we have started this Sampark starting from outbound dispatches. So from yard to the complete customer, we have completely done this digitalization for this process, starting with yard. So earlier, as you said, in some time back, you said it was taking about 14-15 hours for completing the turnaround time inside the plant. And it was for 24 hours to 36 hours in some few cases. So right at the moment, we may not say that we have drastically reduced from 12 hours to 6 hours, but we are analyzing the cases which are going at least beyond 12 to 13 hours. So that visibility is completely there. If any truck is catching up in some yard because of non-availability of material or in segregation of the material, because this steel, it is completely the manufacture, it is processed
Make
based
to
on
order.
yes, based on the order. So inventory is one challenging issue. So once the material is ready, then it is set for dispatches. But if because of any reason, if it doesn't happen on the same day, the next day some other material will come and lie on the previous day's material. So identifying the material to load to this particular consignment isn't challenge inside the plant. So it was taking some time back. It was going beyond 2 days also in tracing out the material and loading, putting the right consignment and right truck. So now because of this process, we have identified wherever it is getting delayed beyond 10 hours, then immediately the concerned team member is taking decision and speaking to the concern, and the truck is, and we are not securely, we can say that we are not keeping any truck inside the plant beyond 20 hours.
Yeah,
Hmm?
that's a
Yes, and
big
overall
progress.
turnaround of time inside the plant also has got reduced by 1.5 hour time, and this Sampark is also integrated with M-Parivahan. So if any truck is trying to enter inside the plant without having valid RTO permission, maybe a fitness certificate, then the truck will be blocked at the plant itself. If it is not fit by the RTO, then it has to again go back to the concerned RTO. It has to get the fitness certificate, and once the fitness certificate is updated in M-Parivahan, then it is automatically synchronized into the Sampark. So then this truck will be allowed inside the plant.
Yeah.
So, including the weighbridge, because weighbridge is one concern. In one plant, we have more than 75 weighbridges in Vijayanagar. So, integrating these many weighbridges is also into the Sampark, and the weighbridge process also got simplified.
Yeah.
So, this Sampark is one platform that the JSW is seen from, like, it took almost 7 or 8 months to implement, but 18 months back we have started with outbound logistics at JSW Vijayanagar plant. Then we have rolled it out to Dolvi plant also, and it was with outbound. Then we have started even raw material process also. And at the third phase, we are even integrating this with the stores department for other raw materials also.
For MRO stuff.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very interesting. So, when I was talking to Sushilji, he talked about optimizing the dispatch planning process, where how much to send through road, how much to send through rail. Where, as much I remember, he was talking about savings. Like there's a dead weight in rail transportation as well road transportation of almost 8 to 9% probably. He talked about, and he mentioned that we've been able to optimize it by 2 3%. Can you speak something about it if you are on top of it?
Yes, this ideal weight, it was in rail operations only. In road operations, normally the ideal weight is not so much to concentrate. But some time back, it was 12% in Vijayanagar, and in overall, if I see in all integrated plants, it is somewhere around 12 plus only. It was in 2024. Now, our focus is more on how to reduce this ideal weight. So we are using, as Indra sir told, we are using even AI also into the picture. So now, last year the Vijayanagar steel plant's ideal rate is around 8.6%. So, and we have taken a target of bringing it down to 7% by optimizing more of different types of coils to put into the wagons. We need to optimize. There, for this context, even we have purchased BFNU wagons, which are one of JSW has the own rakes, which are meant only for transporting steel coils.
Yeah.
So as per the design, we, yes, it is up to you whether you place a 64-ton weight coils, or you can even send with 24 tons of coils also. So different types of coils has to be loaded on the rake, so that your dead freight or idle freight will be as low as. So
Yeah.
when visibility is there for all orders, for CR, for HR, so visibility is there for particular loading base. So how much coils are ready for dispatch? So for the same destination, that's how visibility. Because of this visibility, we can able to reduce the idle weight here. Earlier it was 12%, now it is 8 plus. So we are aiming it to target it to bring it down to the 7%. Maybe soon we are expecting that we'll reach to 7%.
Yeah, you talked about this is a problem because you need real-time visibility of how much
Yes.
cargo is ready for the destination.
Yes.
So it cannot be optimized in advance. It has to be, the load has to be optimized in the real time when the vehicle is, when the rake has been placed. You cannot even be sure about when the rail is going to be placed. So when the rail is going to be placed and what is the cargo readiness, accordingly you do a real-time optimization That's an interesting
Yes.
problem. And as much I interaction with other steel companies, I believe there is some scope for deadweight optimization in road as well. So I haven't the real data, but you're saying that that's not too much. That's perfect. That's very good. But I've come across steel companies where almost 5 to 7% dead weight is there even in the road transportation. And so one thing I we did not touch about is, in fact, I was doing a study about theft in TMT transportation. So TMT, like I've been on the transporter side pretty much, and I love technologies. I'm in doing a technology. So there are such interesting ways that people come across for uh, payment fraud that they typically call about, like at the time of installing some ballast for uh, over-reporting the tear weight and those kind of things. So is that something Reddy ji you would want to talk about? Something that you does it concern you at all or not concern at all?
Yes, it is
Like,
very much concern for transportation of TMT.
yeah,
So again, with the help of digitalization, we have addressed some issues in controlling the theft and identifying the areas of threat and where it is happening, in which route it is happening, with which transporter it is happening mostly. So we are using digitalization process to control this, but we are only halfway in this
yeah, yeah.
exercise. So even further, we need we are for investing some more time, and we are even trying digitalization process to give more insight, light, and identifying the such areas.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
Indraji, you would
Kumar,
like to add
say
something?
something
Indraji,
on
you would like to add something?
Right. So I think one suggestion that I can give, and that can definitely be a key takeaway for all the participants, which can be immediately implemented. And you brought a very important point of this ballasting and the different innovative ways of pilferages, right? So what we have seen, and this is a data point I want to share, is that see, 90% of your trucks that is plying for a particular company will be common. Common in the sense within a year they
Repeat.
have made a trip. Yeah, repeat trips they are making. Maybe 10% every time there is a market vehicle which is coming. So if you keep a database of these vehicles, what's the tear weight? Now, it will be very difficult to do this kind of pilferages and theft by them if you are keeping the data, because there could be, let's say, 0.1 or 0.2% difference, or let's say within some tolerance limit that your tear weight can vary. But then it cannot vary by 1%, it cannot vary by 2%. So, and we have seen that we have done some exercise, and where we have seen that in cases it varies. And if we put a intelligent system which is providing this information to the way bridges, that maybe it will not allow you to open, or maybe the supervisor will get an intimation that there is something fishy which is happening. You can take an action. And the thing is that how do you set an expectation with your partners, transportation partners, driver partners, that if they know कि भाई यहाँ पे आने से we have to be proper, they will not do these things again. And this message, if it goes, 80-90% the problem is solved. 10% you have to be still better than them in finding out what are the new innovative ways the things can happen. And that's the way you can keep your systems updated.
It's like just having a smart CCTV that you're being watched, so people would automatically mind their behavior. So if the community knows that there are check and balances in this plant, so they would be thinking twice before they try to do some hanky panky. So
Right.
appreciate that. So Jagjit any final remark from your side on the solutions or innovation side after hearing from other participants or anything that came to your mind?
So we
Yeah,
have received, yeah, sorry, please continue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now go ahead, Monica.
No, please continue. We have some questions also from the audience, which I will take up once you are completed.
Sure, sure. So no, yeah, as was being said by my fellow panelists that there are various. I think on the pilferage part, uh, you know, the database that we have, and especially under ULIP program, which is integrating the e-Parivahan sites. So the tear weights of the vehicles are there, and we are actually able to get that. The challenge there is the uh, tolerance that comes between two weight bridges. And somehow, as Mr. Datta was saying, that we have to be one step ahead of the people who are in this business of pilferage. So they fully aware about the tolerances between two waves. 0.3 weights and measures department allows. So they leverage and they play within that tolerance. But there are use cases by which you can actually have some anti-pilferage kind of things. In fact, there have been some very good cases, not only on the outbound side, also on coal pilferages. You can use image analytics to see how the as it is loaded into the wagon, whether there was any which happened or did not. So that is there. But I think it's very important is the last one to address delays and bring in smart automation. I think today the one of the key which is there is that the wheels hardly move. So out of 24 hours in a day, maybe you would be lucky if for 8 to 10 hours the wheels are moving. The rest of the time, the vehicles, or for that matter, even if you look at it, the speeds of the Indian Railways freight cargo operations are far, far depressed than the infrastructure or the track limits which are possible or feasible. So these are some of the things, if we are actually able to work on, be done leveraging AI. Future, I'm sure something beyond we will also start seeing is how do we move to functions. It may not be only autonomous driving. There could be a lot of things which uh, could, like, well, if we have when the rakes are coming, how do we have autonomous, so to say, the stacking and tracking of the raw materials. So lot of opportunities are there, and exciting times for logistics professionals and supply chain professionals. Because today, I think if there is one differentiator, it is the supply chains of the companies.
Yeah, especially for industry like steel. And in fact, I recently read an article from your Tata Steel CDO, Chief Information Officer, where he talked about they've taken some cue from Zepto, like you might not be able to deliver in 10 minutes, but 72 hours delivery of steel to your customers. So is there a industry-wide, company-wide initiative that you're trying to cut down your delivery times?
So it's actually, as I said, it's all about one is we work on the efficiencies and cut down on any leakages which are there. And when there are leakages, these are the inventory carrying itself. The amount of inventory carrying could be seen as a form of opportunity to correct. But the other side of that is customer delight. Okay, and that is what you know we can look at. Right now, the focus has been more on the enabling side of the logistics, but there is the other piece which I think is important, and probably if we can add an eight, how can we actually leverage digital to enhance customer delight? Because finally we are doing all these things because largely all these are what we have spoken about is all inter KPIs, but I think KPI is and which is an external. How can we bring in our technology to improve customer delight?
Yeah, appreciate that. I just realized we're gone a bit over time and there are some visitors as well. So I'll conclude the conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. So what I hear from this conversation is digitalization is no longer a cost center. Businesses are losing digitalization as a key lever for controlling our costs, and not just cost. It's also about customer delight. Tracking, which used to be just visibility, is no longer visibility in the history or as it is. Tracking is about creating accountability for all the stakeholders and driving meaningful decision making and actions. And dispatch issues, which used to be plant problems, now dispatch is, as I just mentioned, about the reducing the delivery time for customers. No customer want to block the capital, so reducing that. So is a customer experience lever. So that's what has come out. So we have, based upon all the inputs, we've culminated this into a playbook, digitization playbook. There are 8 levers. First and foremost is digitized dispatch planning. Then we have real-time visibility. That's table stakes. You cannot operate a large operations without having real-time visibility. Plant automation, gates, way bridges, tracking of zones, loading bays, all these things, they have to be automated as much as possible. Freight bill reconciliation is something which there's so many extras, charges, or different complex pricing conditions. So that again is the area of leakage. There needs to be automation in that area. Many customers rely on SAP, the de facto ERP, but sometimes there are some gaps there. Maybe some additions required there to streamline the bill reconciliation process. Control tower, not a reactive control tower, more like proactive control tower is desired. And with transporters, what I come across, there are many situations like as in rail transportation, Dhiraj talked about that you cannot optimize the load until the rake is placed, and you have to do real-time optimization. So those kind of situations where uh, the processes involve collaboration between the stakeholders in real time rather than as a, what do you say, advanced planning. Logistics is always, what do you say, emergent, and you have to handle crises and situations as it is. And customers visibility, not just visibility, I would say short, cut down the transit time and also the visibility to them. And resources, be it your plant bottlenecks in terms of loading bay capacity, in terms of your uh, uh, vehicle dead weight optimization, all these things, they are the key levers that one needs to optimize for. So I would repeat, come back to the same original story. Logistics is the most multiplayer, multi-stakeholder collaborative process that every uh, steel manufacturing organization runs. Suppliers, transporters, fleet owners, plants, factories, warehouses, customers, all these things. There has to be a consistent way to bring everybody on one platform, and then equipping them with the right information on the right at the right time. That what the foundation to driving better efficiencies. I'll just talk about a couple of things about the Fretron system. Fretron is built upon our move as one value lever framework, where we have identified the key levers that supply chain teams in large steel companies utilize for reducing their costs and driving efficiencies. Then we have for the improving customer service and getting better market share from their customers. We have digital transformation, where many companies, they take a mandate for totally digital processes, reducing the human involvement, manual efforts, as well as paperless processes. So that's another theme that we usually come across when companies want to think about digital transformation. And compliance and governance in terms of theft detection and prevention. We talked about data security, integrity, environment and sustainability tracking. These are the few levers that most companies are looking at. So, Monica ji, I'll just recap and then you will probably involve the participants. So, we discussed about the steel challenges from infrastructure bottleneck to cost pressure, which is steel being a commodity industry, is a significant concern. Ever rising customer expectations, shorter delivery time, visibility, customer delight. And we talked about compliance and governance. And we talked about getting control of the operational inefficiencies. And we talked about how key players are flipping the game by data driven optimization, being digital at the core, control towers, AI, use of AI in innovative ways for data decision making. And this steel logistics playbook, this is now available to everyone. So you can, from the screen, you can download as well. And I thank you, the audience. We have almost 170 people still on the call. Really appreciate your being there throughout. Your house is open for questions. Monica ji, can you please? I
Thank you so
request the
much. Yeah, thank you
participants and
so
the
much,
panelists
Puneet ji.
for 5 minutes more.
Yeah. So, audience, this is the screen is visible in front of you. You can see the QR. You can download the report by scanning the QR from your mobile devices. And before we close, I want to launch poll questions also on your screen, audience. I request all the participants to please make their votes. The question number one, which we want to ask from the audience is, where does your current TMS stand on delivering real-time visibility and collaboration across teams? You have got 5 options. We don't use Teams, basic TMS, moderate, integrated with some functions, advanced, fully integrated with real-time data sharing, TMS exits, but most teams will operate manually. You have got the second question: what is the biggest roadblock you have faced in TMS adoption on scaling? You have got 4 options here: low adoption by on-ground teams, poor integration with EPR and legacy systems, lack of real-time insights, too complex for our operational reality, and the last is team collaboration on the platform. Please answer very, very quickly. These poll questions are very important for us. And meanwhile, since Puniji, we have got, we are already over the time. I think we may not be able to take the Q&As, but I request all the audience to vote as much as you can for this polls. This will help us further, and to Fretron also to improvise on the services. And of course, they have come up with a variety of products which you can take use of it. We, during the peak hour, we had 200 plus audience participating. Still 162 people are still there. So this poll will definitely serve a very good purpose. So audience, with this, I would like to thank you all for joining this very informative webinar where Metalogic partnered with Fretron. Fretron, as I have already explained, is a digital service provider for the transport management services, TMS, as a owned by Puneet ji, part of CJ Darsal Group. And definitely most of the steel plants are taking use of it. The new steel makers can also, as in the companies who have not taken the benefit of Fretron, can reach out to the marketing team. You can write to Fretron. I'll tell you the email ID where you can send an email. You can send an email to marketing@fretron.com. We hope you like the report. Do send your feedback about the report. Thank you for joining this session today.
Yeah. Indraji, thank you. Indraji, last thank you remark maybe for the audience.
Yes,
Indraji and
and
Reddy.
I want to really thank Jagjit ji for joining us the webinar, Mr. Reddy for filling the spot, for Sushil ji. Thank you so much, Mr. Reddy and Mr. Indra sir. Thank you so much, and Puneet ji. All thanks to you for partner with us in this
It's a great honor. Thank you so much for.
informative webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Being part of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji.